The terrifying last minutes of John Denver. John Denver was born Henry John Deutschendorf Jr. on December 31, 1943, in Roswell, New Mexico. Rose to become one of the most beloved and iconic singer-songwriters of the 20th century. His music, characterized by its heartfelt simplicity, love for nature, and deep connection to the human spirit, resonated with millions of fans worldwide. Denver's songs are often associated with themes of environmentalism, love, and personal reflection, blending folk, country, and pop in a style that is uniquely his. His life, while filled with professional triumphs, was also marked by personal struggles and tragedies, making his legacy one of both inspiration and poignant humanity. Denver's early life was shaped by his father's career in the United States Air Force, leading the family to move frequently. As a shy and introspective boy, Denver found solace in music, and by the time he was in college, he had begun performing in local clubs. His breakthrough came when he joined the folk group the Chad Mitchell Trio in the 1960s, where his talent as both a singer and songwriter quickly gained attention. However, it was his solo career, which began in earnest in the early 1970s, that catapulted him to international fame. His first major hit, Take Me Home, Country Roads, 1971, became an anthem of American rural life, celebrating the beauty of West Virginia and touching the hearts of listeners who longed for the tranquility and simplicity of the countryside. Throughout the 1970s, Denver's success continued to soar. His albums, including Poems, Prayers and Promises, 1971, Rocky Mountain High, 1972, and Back Home Again, 1974, contained some of his most memorable songs, such as Annie's Song, Rocky Mountain High, and Sunshine on My Shoulders. These songs not only showcased Denver's soulful voice and poetic lyrics but also reflected his deep appreciation for nature and the outdoors, particularly the mountains of Colorado, where he made his home. Rocky Mountain High became a symbol of Denver's connection to the land, and he became a passionate advocate for environmental conservation, using his music as a platform to raise awareness about the beauty of the natural world and the need to protect it. Denver's impact extended beyond his music. He was an outspoken environmentalist, humanitarian, and advocate for world peace. His commitment to these causes was evident in his work with organizations like the WinStar Foundation, which he co-founded to promote environmental sustainability. He also supported numerous charitable efforts, including hunger relief and wildlife conservation. Denver's music and activism often went hand in hand, as he believed that art could inspire positive change in the world. His deep spirituality and sense of responsibility toward the planet were recurring themes in his work, and he was widely admired for his dedication to making a difference. Despite his outward success, Denver's personal life was marked by challenges. His marriage to Annie Martel, immortalized in the beautiful ballad Annie's Song, ended in divorce in 1982, a painful event that had a profound effect on him. Denver struggled with substance abuse and legal issues in the later years of his life, and his career experienced a decline in the 1980s and 1990s as musical trends shifted. However, he remained a beloved figure, and his music continued to be cherished by fans old and new. Denver's honesty and vulnerability in addressing his personal struggles only endeared him further to his audience, who saw him not just as a celebrity, but as a relatable human being navigating the complexities of life. Denver married Australian actress Cassandra Delaney in 1988 after a 2-year courtship. Settling at Denver's home in Aspen, the couple had a daughter, Jessie Bell. Denver and Delaney separated in 1991 and divorced in 1993. Of his second marriage, Denver said that before our short-lived marriage ended in divorce, she managed to make a fool of me from one end of the valley to the other. John Denver's death was a deeply tragic event, filled with heart-wrenching final moments that left his fans and loved ones in shock. On October 12, 1997, Denver, a celebrated singer-songwriter and environmental activist, took off in his experimental Rutan Long-EZ plane from the Monterey Peninsula Airport in California. Denver, who had a lifelong passion for flying, had logged thousands of hours as a pilot and owned numerous aircraft over the years. However, the circumstances surrounding his last flight would prove fateful. The aircraft he was flying, the Long EZ, was a small, sleek, two-seater plane designed for efficiency but known to be difficult for even experienced pilots to handle. Denver had only recently purchased the plane and had limited experience flying it. Adding to the risks, the fuel selector valve, an essential control in the aircraft, was located in an awkward, hard-to-reach position behind the pilot. This design flaw would later be identified as a critical factor contributing to Denver's crash. In the final moments of his life, Denver, cruising over the Pacific Ocean, ran into trouble when his plane began to run low on fuel. Reports from the investigation revealed that he likely had to switch fuel tanks mid-flight, a task made more difficult by the awkward placement of the valve. As he struggled to reach it, Denver likely took his focus off the controls, causing the plane to nosedive. Witnesses reported seeing the aircraft go into a steep descent before crashing into the cold waters of Monterey Bay. Despite Denver's extensive flight experience, the combination of unfamiliarity with the aircraft and the poorly positioned fuel switch led to an irreversible situation. The impact of the crash was instantaneous. Denver, flying solo, had no chance of survival as his plane plunged into the ocean at high speed. When rescue teams arrived at the crash site, there was little they could do. His body was eventually recovered from the wreckage, confirming the worst fears of those who had loved and admired him. The tragedy of Denver's death was compounded by the fact that he had recently begun to experience a revival in his personal and professional life. Though he had faced struggles, including a turbulent personal life and challenges with alcohol, he had recently overcome many of these difficulties. He had begun to refocus on his music and had rekindled his commitment to environmental causes, which had always been close to his heart. Denver's sudden, tragic end cut short what many believed would be a promising new chapter in his life. His sudden death at the age of 53 shocked the world and left a void in the hearts of his fans. The loss of John Denver reverberated deeply throughout the world. He was more than just a musician. He was a voice of the American heartland, known for songs that celebrated nature, love, and the human spirit. His untimely death left an immense void in the music industry and in the hearts of his millions of fans. The fact that his life ended while he was pursuing one of his greatest passions, flying, brought a bitter irony to the tragedy. Though he had found immense joy and freedom in the skies, it was ultimately the very thing that claimed his life. In the years following his death, the music world and his many admirers have continued to reflect on Denver's legacy, cherishing the gifts of his music while mourning the tragic and preventable circumstances of his death. His story is a poignant reminder of the dangers of aviation, even for experienced pilots, and of how fragile life can be, even for those who seem larger than life. Denver's final moments, filled with a desperate struggle to regain control of his aircraft, remain a haunting chapter in the life of a man who had otherwise soared to great heights both in his career and personal passions.